I thought I'd do another Stock Market 201 video as we walk through a typical Thai neighborhood today. And obviously the stock markets looks like it's in a bear market and things are going down seriously. And it's unfortunate that it happened so quickly, because I didn't really want to address what to do in these situations until I've gone through about 5 of these videos. But it's pretty important because at this point, because most of the kids on YouTube that have never lived through a bear market, people like Jeremy and others, are really clueless as to the value and importance of having cash at the top of bear markets. They have already made videos bragging about buying at the top of the market and how smart they are with their buys 2 weeks ago into last week and all that, because they think a 10% off sale is a really great thing when faced with entire countries being shut down, entire school systems of entire countries being shut down, this virus panic, which is certainly much worse than the virus, but nonetheless is having an economic recessionary type event is what we're dealing with here. And just to give you a short explanation as to how powerful cash is, just 20% in cash back in the internet boom would have allowed you to double your shares on the stock everybody thought would hold its value really well, which was Microsoft. The sun was kind of in my eyes there, so we'll walk in a different direction. So the point being, cash in that situation was magnified by 400%. So yeah, your Microsoft was getting crushed from 80 down to 20, which in today's world would be like these kids running out and buying it because it was $72. It ended up at 18. Why would you rush out and buy in the first week of a bear market? It's only because you have been conditioned by people like Susie Orman. You're in such a bad habit of ignoring the possible downside and only saying, ooh, the stock's going to jump up 10% and I'm going to get a little extra 10% boost, in the face of a worldwide economic and health problem. That is a humongous mistake. So what is the answer at this point? Is to make sure that you start utilizing plans that are going to build cash on the way down should it keep going down. Those include things like buying a put or two. Selling covered calls immediately on everything you own will at least slow the pain. It will begin to raise you cash that will ultimately be worth 100, 200, maybe 300% more than it's worth today in buying power for stocks down the road. And it is extraordinarily important you don't say it's too late, because that's a huge rookie amateur mistake. These people that all went out, rushed out and bought stocks last week, if they were smart, they'd sell everything they bought recently and a little bit more. And I know this is completely contrary to what everybody tells you is, oh, the stock market's going down, it's a great time to buy. No, the stock market going down and it's a great time to buy is applicable based on the situation. If the situation is that entire economies are being shut down when it looked like we were going to be in a high growth mode, but now we're in a recessionary mode, it's not a good time to buy at a 10% discount. So here's something I thought up as hopefully a way to get you to understand it. Let's say you live next door to a guy that owned McDonald's, and he told you that 15% of people over 80 died when they came in, 10% from 40 to 80 died, and 1% died that were under that. And he said, hey, I usually sell my, hey, here's my buddy, hey Chuck, how you doing? I usually sell my McDonald's for $1 million, but since I'm having this little problem, I'll give you a 10% discount. You'd laugh at him. And you say, you want to sell me a McDonald's where you don't even know why or what the cure is, for all your customers are dying, for 90% of the value of the company? Are you crazy? And you say, well, you know, it's usually $1 million. And you'd say, fine. I would rather pay $1 million for a good business than take a risk on paying 90% for something that could very easily go into a 50, 60, 70% fire sale down the road. You would recognize that in the world of buying somebody's business that went to crap. But because you think about the stock market as eventually going up and being worth more, you don't really see the importance of waiting and holding on to cash for the stock market. So that's the best analogy I can really use is, would you run out and really think a 10% discount would be great? And the answer is no. And the other thing I'd point out is when it comes to selling off some of your stocks, so you at least have 20% in cash now, you would be the guy that owned the McDonald's. You'd be the guy saying, man, wasn't I lucky, even though I only got 80 or 90% of the all-time high value of my stock, at least I got that, and I'll be able to buy it back at a much better price later. The bottom line in all this is really that the possible downside is so much worse at this point than any near-term possible upside that the very first thing you need to absolutely do is stop with this dollar cost averaging nonsense belief, okay? Dollar cost averaging works great when any other way to buy stocks would work just as well. It's not some panacea to do well in the stock market. In fact, all it is a guarantee that you're not going to do better than the average. And think about that. If you just buy randomly, all you're going to do is hit sometimes high, sometimes low, sometimes in the middle. Mathematically, your odds of buying low get worse. I think I'm going to head back this way. Your odds of buying low and selling high get worse and worse and worse the longer you dollar cost average. Buying low and selling high is a whole different thing. But if you're a value investor and you buy low and sell high, you don't do that ignoring the reasons why the stocks are low. And that's what these kids are doing now. They said, oh my goodness, a 10% discount. That is just fantastic and fabulous in a bull market. So I'm going to dollar cost average by buying some at the low without taking any care or concern whatsoever to, number one, the fact that it's possible they're going to get crushed even worse on the way down. And number two, that the one thing they have going for them is cash, which is going to magnify in value. And they've decided to throw that one little opportunity they have away by making their situation worse as they go into the bear market. So it's about all I'm going to say on this. I don't want to be too harsh on these kids that really don't know what they're doing because they've never lived through a bear market. So it's not really their fault. But they better wake up and smell the coffee right now, because this situation certainly has a potential to do the same thing that everybody said would never happen with Microsoft. And think about that. It went from 80 all the way down to 18 as what was supposed to be the very best company that wouldn't be affected at all by a bear market in internet stocks. So there you go. Stop dollar cost averaging. Sell some if you have to. Make sure you raise at least 20% in cash and hold on. Don't get all jumping the gun to buy something just because it's cheaper than it was yesterday. Let the economic problem solve itself before you jump in with even a half a foot. All right, thanks guys. Please subscribe, share, and tell your friends to stop throwing their money away. Thank you.